You know, every centimeter counts, bro. Guys are
Yeah, yeah,
so used to trying to yang out in the gym, right? They're going to the gym and their bodies are just no yin and yang, the two opposites. They always yang. They always want to pump. They always want to hit the weights. They always want to get the pump on. They always want to hit the big weights, hit the big numbers, hit the bench press, squats. These things are great. They're great for producing testosterone, but they're also going to compress your spine too. You got to
yeah,
counter those things, man. If you're always spinal compression, your body's going to keep the score, and the gut listens to all of that, and it's all part of how you feel, how your body's processing your daily stressors, and it all adds up. So that's why I recommend guys remember to stretch.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Charles here, and in today's episode, I'm joined by Jameson Luskay,
Hey
or
everybody.
otherwise known as Coach Jamo. How's it
That's
going?
right.
How's it going, my friend?
I'm going really well, Charles. How are you doing, brother? It's been a long time since we've been able to catch up, but I always enjoy our conversations together.
Yeah, no, it's been too long. It's been too long, but
Yeah,
glad to see
truth,
you're keeping
truth,
well.
truth,
Whereabouts in
truth.
the world are you at the moment?
I'm down in South Brazil at the moment.
Very nice, very
Yeah,
nice.
beautiful weather, beautiful people, and it's been great.
Nice. And is
Yeah,
that by the beach, coastal area,
yeah. I'm
or
coastal. I'm coastal.
nice?
Lots of nice beaches. Very coastal, very surf town. Yeah,
Very nice, very
very,
nice.
very nice.
Well, just to give people a bit of context, I wanted to bring JMO on to the to the channel and to the show because I wanted to, talk about everything related to kind of optimizing your health, gut health. Jameson is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this type of stuff.
Well, I had to go through it myself.
Well, yeah, we'll
Trial by fire. You know, it was one of those things where I had to go through my own journey over like a decade.
Yeah, well, we'll that segues perfectly into kind of my first question was like, well, firstly, give us a little bit about your background, who you are, like how you even got started, and what it is that you do, and
Yeah.
just to give the audience a bit of context.
Yeah, well, as Charles hinted towards earlier, I'm Coach Jamo. So that's more of my current persona. But 15 years ago, this was not it. I was student Jamo, and I still am student Jamo. But it took a lot of work and effort and dedication to really figure out this whole journey and come to a point where I could actually understand what works in my body and what doesn't work, and having to do a lot of learning, a lot of research, having to look into the different dynamics when it comes to um, healing the gut lining, the gut brain barrier. And basically, it all started when I was 15 years old. And this was a situation that arose through my old sports, which was cross country. I was a cross country runner, and I would run cross country multiple times a week, maybe like 2, 3 times a day sometimes. Every single time without fail, I had to go to the bathroom every single time.
Wow. Yeah.
It was like a joke with the whole team. Everyone was making fun of me. Everyone was like, what's this kid doing? Everyone was just like trying to get me the heck out of there. And I was good at it, but at the same time, like it was frustrating because it just was not healthy. And I was like, what is wrong with me? So I did all the tests. I went to the doctors first, right? Because I told my parents, and they're like, all right, we'll figure this out. Let's go run the lactose intolerance test, gluten intolerance test. Let's run all these blood tests, see what's up. And there wasn't much inflation there, like inflammation there, but there was lactose intolerance. So they were like, oh, that must be it. You have a sensitive gut. And I was like, that can't just be it, because I don't eat all the time. I don't drink milk. I don't eat all of these crazy things every single day. And it was just consistent. And so what I found out was, after a lot of trial and error, it's through my diet. It's through the standard American diet, as they have here. And I'm sure in the
Hmm.
UK, they have the standard British breakfast. They have the beans with I saw a photo of the other day, like a baguette, some canned Heinz beans, and
Yep.
a couple of,
So
cured meats. And that was the typical breakfast they would have. So that was something that totally threw me off guard, and it was just totally like unexpected. Normal, because I was frustrated because I thought it was just me, right? I thought I was like, why am I dealing with this? Everyone else is eating the same crap, and I'm the only one who seems to have problems like this. And what I learned was that everyone had different problems in different ways. Mine just came out in my gut, and it turned into this whole debacle with my parents because I tried to change the way I ate. My parents were like, "It's not the way you eat; it's something
Mm,
else." One sec.
yeah, no worries, all good.
Happy life, happy. Anyways, that's
maybe,
also a big
maybe,
part of gut
maybe,
health, right?
yeah,
Also a big part I have to get into, right? Because when your gut is messed up, one of the scariest things you can do is go on a date. Like going on a date when you don't have proper gut health is just it's like Russian roulette.
yeah,
And because my gut health would really increase when I had anxiety and when I had moments of stress. So the gut and the brain are incredibly connected. And I didn't really know this, but I started to realize there was this pattern. And the pattern was when I was running, I noticed because during the day I was fine. Like at school, I had no problem. When I was running, it became a stressful situation for me because I would I would be afraid of having to go to the bathroom when I ran because there's nowhere to go. Like that stress of like having no place to go. I can't just go knock on a door. I have to run into the woods, right? So I
yeah.
had to go to the bathroom in these obscure places where I would just run into the woods, and if there wasn't any woods available, I'd be like, where do I go? I've had issues where I actually got lost in the woods. Like I fell into like a river once because I was trying to ford. I tried to jump over the river and I landed like in the mud and I like got stuck. It was brutal, man. The things I would do to just try and use the bathroom. But I realized that it was a moment of stress because my body was afraid of having to go to the bathroom in the woods, and that would cause me to have to go to the bathroom more. So when I started getting into that change between my gut health and my mental health, I learned that they're very connected. And I learned that if I go on a date, um, with someone that was new or I was scared, I would feel anxiety, and this still comes up from time to time. This happened to me like 3 months ago. I went on a date and it just wasn't the right person for me. And middle of the date, I just had to go, man. I was just like, what the heck? Like I was just like, what is my body trying to tell me, man? And I know it's a very vulgar the way to start this conversation, um, but it's just the story that stuck true to me. This is what happened in my own life. This is exactly what I was going through. This is exactly what I had to process. So that's a situation where I just totally, um, totally had to figure out how to get better on my own because the doctors were just helping with telling me that I was loaded. I had to drink lactose free milk. And they were like, okay, just change your milk. I'm like, I don't even drink that much milk. I don't even have much dairy in my life. And the biggest thing that I found was controlling and learning how to deal with that anxiety. And then also, I had to figure out how to, um, I kind of cut out bread. That was the other big thing that really messed with me. So that was my journey. There's way
Interesting.
more details
Uh,
we can get into with
I was going to
that, but
say, like going into that. So you said it kind of the gut issues started at around kind of 15 years old. Um,
yep.
what's that kind of, you know, because I'd imagine it must have been pretty, like you said, pretty challenging as a 15-year-old kid to like navigate all these issues, like insecurities with like having, gut issues and stuff. And
Yes.
then as you get a little bit older, I don't know how long it kind of took you to really get a handle of these things. Um, but kind of if you could, yeah, give us a few kind of milestones of like what you did and your journey from, say, going to the doctors to maybe going down more of the holistic route. What was that
Mm.
kind of process for you?
Well, man, it wasn't something that came to me naturally. I just wanted an answer. I just wanted a resolution as fast as possible. And that was all I knew at the time. And that was all that made sense to me. It wasn't until college. College was when I started to get more holistic. And it's kind of a weird situation, but the only thing that got me to get holistic was I had terrible acne. My acne was so bad. It was just like it ruined my confidence. It was just constantly painful, frustrating. I was trying everything. I had a medical esthetician, and she told me the story of dermatologists, and she was in that field for a while. Now she's a holistic esthetician, so she changed her course. She was in her 60s, so she has a lot of experience in the industry. And she told me that the dermatologists aren't trying to fix your acne. They're trying to make you a customer. They're trying to get you to take these pills, take these creams that are very drying and that will reduce your acne, but they will cause scarring. And then the
Yep.
scarring is what then, when you're an adult, you then pay the dermatologists to take care of. So you're becoming a lifelong customer for them. So she went through the whole life cycle for me. And I was just like, wait a minute. So they're not here to try. I thought the dermatologists were trying to fix my acne. Like they were trying to help me get rid of it for good. And then I was like, wait, that's a good point, because everything that she was doing was different than what they were doing. She was giving me face massages, doing different creams and moisturizers. It was very moisturizing. She was popping pimples. Dermatologists do the opposite. They prescribed antibiotics, which ruin your gut microbiome, and I was taking them long term. So my gut microbiome was really struggling, and gut microbiome has a lot to do with mental health as well. They overlap
We'll get into
very
that for sure.
intricately.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I'm drying my skin so much that I could see it flaking. It was so dry. And after this happened, I was just like, obviously, like, why this, that I could tell my body doesn't like this stuff. And what she was doing was incredibly moisturizing, felt rejuvenating. I always felt calm after. I always felt like my skin was just like a baby. It was so soft and it was so nice. And like this is what my body wants. But with the dermatologists, it was just this undivided faith. And I was just like, I wasn't mad at them, but I was just like, oh, there's something better out there. It's just, I have to go find it. So that's when I got into alternative gut health. And the alternative gut health led me down a path of learning about um, different ways to heal the gut lining. And it all started with how I ate. It's all started with what kind of food I eat. That was the number one thing, was the food that I put in my body. And even if I heal the gut, eating the wrong food will just ruin the process. So it's all about the basis of what I'm eating. And that was when I started my health journey in college. And luckily I had some really cool roommates who were all about the same thing. We were reading books about health. We read like Grain Brain and stuff like that. We were talking about all these different books in college. And of course they were also trying to, score chicks as well. So they were like focused on that. I was trying to learn about health to like fix myself so that I could go on dates and actually meet girls without having to shit my pants. So it was just it was a whole situation.
Well, thankfully, you did have friends that were into that, because the
Yeah.
friends that we have, the UK college would be what would be described as university, and
The mandem.
yeah, and the friends that I had definitely weren't into optimizing your microbiome. Put it that way. They were more
Yeah.
interested in knocking back double vodka Red Bulls.
I mean, it's the same. It was very similar. It was very similar in the U.S. culture as well. It's a very similar culture for
Yeah.
sure. And the food wasn't really a priority. It was mostly the Tesco $5 meal thing.
Yeah.
Five quid meal. That's basically what the U.S. guys. That's what they're eating. Is the same food style.
It wasn't a good diet. It really wasn't. Yeah.
But it's interesting, brother, because the thing about health is that it's not only is it good for you. Like I took this gut thing as a blessing, right? Because not only was it good for me to improve my diet to fix my gut, but the way my brain cleared up, the mental clarity, the way that I felt more motivated, the way that I was able to wake up and feel energy all day without having to take any caffeine. Like these things all overlapped into my success in school, and then my success in my career, my motivation and drive in business, and my mental health. Like I just felt better throughout the day. And that's why I think health and fitness is the base layer for any businessman, entrepreneur, or doctor, or lawyer, or tradesman, whatever industry you're in. having health just makes you happier with what you're doing because you're able to do it without pain, and you're able to do it in a way where you can actually think clearly and not feel this constant I don't know, for me it was like I always had this constant this constant overarching, just I would say like a droopiness to me. Like I was just uncomfortable. um I would get stomach aches randomly. I would get headaches randomly, and that just ruined my any ounce of productivity I had. Like it just hit a brick wall, because once I get into that pain, I'm just like, well, now I have to fix this. Like I can't think of something else. I have to focus on what's this pain is coming from. So that's why I tell men, especially younger men, that getting your health dialed in at a young age is going to launch you into your goals, whether that be physical goals with your fitness, whether that be business, financial goals, whether that be relationship goals. All these different goals all are related to your personal health.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I want to share with you, Jamo, a couple of stats. I was just doing some research,
Oh.
before our for this call, and I think this will. It's sobering statistics, put it that way. It's not the most
Mm.
uplifting statistics, but I think it will give us a lot of different conversations and avenues to go down. So, 1 in 8 people in the world, this is based in 2022, are living with obesity. Worldwide adult obesity has more than doubled since 1990. More than 131 million people, 66% of all adults in the US, use prescription drugs. There is, I've seen multiple studies about how men's testosterone levels have declined in the last 20 years. Um, there was a study in the UK done recently of 22 million people and found that 1 in 10 people are affected by an autoimmune disease. And then, we're not even talking about the epidemic of mental health issues, anxiety, depression, you name it. What the hell's going on here? Like, where, let's kind of die. Like, where are we going wrong, Jamo? Like, what's
Man.
like from the point in of the medical industry? Like, where do we start? Like, if you, let's say someone is also struggling with
Mhm,
one of these things that I've just listed out here,
mhm.
whether you're on prescription drugs, whether you've been uh, diagnosed with a autoimmune issue that the doctor says is, chronic and can,
Yeah, those are
like,
very, very common, and those people have to really struggle too. It's really unfortunate. Yeah, I feel for guys like that big time. There's uh there's a lot of issues like this, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on these roots. I have ideas, but no one has the answer yet. So I want to hear what you have to say, and then I want to be able to talk about things that, because I know you know your stuff. I know you know from personal experience as well, because you've seen a
yeah,
lot of things.
yeah. I mean, look, I've had to deal with, you know, my own kind of autoimmune issues over the years, and it probably started since I was a kid. I had eczema really bad as a kid.
Mhm.
My parents used to put gloves on me and then tie my hands up
Oh
to stop
wow,
me scratching.
wow,
Yeah,
that's quite the image right there.
but I yeah, I've had, I am still dealing with some kind of gut issues that I'm trying to resolve. And like you, for many years when I was younger, if you're struggling and you're ill, what do? You go to your parents tell you to go to the doctors. Go to the doctors. They give you a pill, and you go on your way. You try it. It helps maybe for a while, or put a cream on.
Mhm.
It may help a little bit, but eventually, in terms of my journey, I got to the stage where I was like, this is not working. If anything, I'm getting worse. And I just had a kind of, probably similar to you. I had that realization that there must be another way here. There's, there must be an alternative. And, you kind of go down the rabbit hole of YouTube and, very like
Different
listening to different.
websites.
Yeah, yeah, listening to different people
When
and
we were younger, we didn't even have YouTube for this. We had to do our
no,
own. We had books, and that was about it. Like
yeah. I mean, this
different
was
blogs and whatnot, at least. But
yeah for sure. I mean,
recently, yeah.
I think I know like as a kid and in my early 20s, I was dealing with these stuff, but I didn't really get into it probably till mid 20s onwards. So obviously things like YouTube was out, but even then it wasn't that extensive. But kind of going back to your point, I guess, yeah, for me personally, yeah, from my understanding, it's, you know, a lot of things I, we're learning more about the microbiome and the importance of gut health and this, you hear words like leaky gut and how that affects not only your physical health, but your mental health. Um, I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are on all of this.
Hmm.
I know,
Yeah, good.
from
You bring up good
previous,
points. You bring up
yeah,
very good points. You definitely cover a lot of pressing issues, and
uh,
you know your stuff too, because you have to, because you're going through learning that for your own journey, which what is what almost unfortunately it requires for a lot of people to really open up to this before it's a problem. They need to do it for their own good because it helps them get better. And most people who are kind of going through things and are accustomed to these feelings, and maybe they're okay with how they look, and they're not really interested in their health. They just go through day to day hoping that it works out. It's I kind of feel bad for them, but at the same time, of course, I didn't want to have to go through what I did, and I'm sure you didn't want to have to go through what you did. But it brought us to this place now where we just go down those rabbit holes, and we start learning what to do and what to take care of ourselves. But to answer your initial question, I feel really bad for guys who are trying to figure it out today, because there's so many people online telling them that they have the answers, and it's this one thing. You just fix this, or you fix, like, there seems to be a lot of people now who act like they know everything, and they're like this ultimate source of health and wellness. And guys are like, oh man, if I just do my ice bath and sauna, and then I do my blah 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 blah, and I have this whole routine, then I'm going to be super healthy, I'm going to be good to go. And it's maybe for a placebo effect, it'll be nice. But when it comes to figuring out and dialing in on what the actual problem is, a lot of doctors aren't trusted because they don't know the answer, because they aren't able to be like, yep, this is what it is. Which is where the health gurus come in, who also, they're just using their captivation. They're just like, this is the problem, blame this. If it wasn't for this, you wouldn't be fat, sick, and unhealthy. And doctors can't do that because they're illegally not allowed to. But the health gurus can. And of course, it's more compelling when you see someone say this, because you're like, oh my gosh, this is the one thing. Like, I have to learn about this. I have to fix this. And I think that's where we're currently at. Is there's so much vanity in the health space that it's all about the excitement. It's like YouTube clickbait, but for your health. And it doesn't overlap. Like, you can't clickbait health, because there's nothing that's going to be like the one secret. Like, we know, everyone knows the joke of like, there's always that ad on those websites that we shouldn't visit, that I have not visited in a long time, that always says doctors hate this guy, or doctors hate him. Like, one
cut out, I
secret that
think, Daniel.
doctors don't want you to know. And
Oh,
that's just not it. Um, but there are little things that add up, and these guys, these health gurus, do have some validity in what they're saying. They do have some cool research behind what they're sharing, but at the same time, everyone's so individualized. And the reason why so many people, like the statistics you mentioned, are obese, so many people are dealing with chronic fatigue, so many people are dealing with prescription drugs, is because they've gotten to a point where that's all they can do to feel normal. And they don't know what normal is anymore. Normal is totally forgotten about. But we're wondering now, why is this happening to us now versus 100, 200 years ago? And a lot of people blame the food system. They blame the way that agriculture has changed over the past 200 years. And that has a lot of truth to it as well. But then you think about how accessible is being able to either A, grow your own produce on your own homestead, or B, going to the store and getting organic produce. That's accessible maybe for, a couple of guys. But for the whole world, that's not very easy. Like getting a meal in, not only is it hard to source, but it's also hard to find the time to cook it, find the time to go shopping for it, and then find the store that actually has the products you want in your area. So that's another thing that I really have a struggle with. But the issue with that is even guys who have everything down, guys who are like, okay, I'm gonna take care of it. I'm gonna go buy organic food. I have the funds. I'm gonna go do these crazy health protocols. A lot of those guys are still struggling. And the reason why I believe this is because they haven't learned how to navigate and transmute their sexual health and their stress levels. I think those are two very, very prominent things that men have a big issue with, especially. Now, with women, I think the stress is also very prominent and is also a big problem. But with men specifically, having high stress in today's day and age is a beautiful thing because it allows us to create, it allows us to go out and get things. But if you think about stress from not just the point of, hey, I'm stressed because I have this task due today, you can think of stress as your body is being stressed because you're sitting, because you have your phone in your pocket, because there could be potential damaging effects of the constant EMF, the constant, the being in a city, having all these cars, having all these fumes, um, breathing in all these different, toxins and whatnot from the air, um, you know, being inside all day, having lights, having very bright lights late at night, having flickering lights, and these are all stressors to your body. So we're constantly under a state of stress. And on top of that, the foods we consume are putting our body under more stress, like especially our liver, because it's detoxing a lot of the ingredients that our bodies aren't used to, the preservatives, the heavy metals, these things that our body is having to get rid of because it doesn't serve it. It's dangerous for the body. It's constant stress. Our bodies are under constant stress. Like, this is fun because I remember you were talking about this, and this is a great example of when you were able to leave the city and go and just be on the beach a little bit. Like when you get to the beach and you get to be away from all of the the noise of being in the big city, there's there's a change within your body, and people wonder why that is. And the biggest reason is because the negative ions that you get from the ocean. I know it sounds crazy, but you're getting actual like your body basically has electrons, and these electrons are looking for a donor. They're trying to find something to attach to, and you have all these electrons running around your body, and then you go to the beach and you get yourself barefoot in the ground, and your electrons have something to go to. Your electrons can actually attach something, and they're not freely moving around your body. And this is just one of the many things that happen behind the scenes. But when you're looking, when that's happening within your body, it's a stressor. And when you're able to relieve that stressor, it puts a relief on your body. I'm not saying we can find a perfect life where we have zero stressors. We have to go live in the woods away from society. And I don't think that's viable. That's not personally the life I want to live. I love being able to communicate. I love being able to get on these calls and talk to people from around the world and meet new people and have deep conversations. But if I had to put my finger on those statistics, I want to blame the food system. I want to blame the pesticides that are killing off the microbiome. Of course, I want to do that. Just like every other health guru out there is, talking about how everything's enriched with folate, and folate isn't methylated. Most people can't methylate folate. They have a DNA mutation where their bodies aren't able to methylate folic acid. And that's really cool, but that's not a make or break. Like that's a stressor, but it's not going to, if you, if some people might find an improvement, but some people might still have the same issues, even if they cut out all the folic acid enriched wheat bread in their life, like I did. I cut out the breads and I still had issues. So when it comes to the reason why, I would say it's an overall stress. And that's a very broad answer. But I'm talking about the stress that's on your microbiome from the pesticides, the stress from the antibiotics. Not only is there antibiotics in our food, but there's also antibiotics in our tap water. There's other pharmaceuticals in our tap water, and we're showering in this every day. Even if you have a water filter on your in your sink or for your drinking water, you're still going to be consuming it from your shower, from washing your hands. Like it's still around you all day, and your skin's your largest organ, so whatever gets on your skin gets absorbed. which is why I always tell people to get a shower filter. A KDF shower filter is an amazing tool to just mitigate that extra layer. However, some people live their whole lives without a shower filter and they're fine. Like it's one of those things where um I love it and I've seen a huge improvement, but someone else might not use one and be like, "Well, it's okay. My water, like my municipal water is fine." And there's websites you can go like the environmentalworkinggroup.org. They have, I'm not sure if it's international within Europe and the UK, but in the US, you can actually look up the water testing of your area or the municipal water. And you can see what chemicals they have and it'll give it a rating of where you're at. So that's also a huge aspect of where you're living will make a huge impact on your overall health, not just because your environment, but also because your water quality. And then, yeah, your drinking water. I mean, another big thing that men are having issues with and women are too, that's causing a huge problem with obesity is all of the xenoestrogens, all of these plastics that are so new for us, that are so convenient. I mean, I have a plastic water bottle because that's all I can. They don't sell glass water bottles in Brazil. I have to drink from plastic
Yeah,
or get a
same.
water filter. And a water filter is, a 2K investment. Not everyone can do that. That's rent. That's a month or two rent right there just to get clean water. And as much as I think that's a great investment, it's something that not a lot of people can do. So they have to resort to drinking, water from a plastic bottle. And when you drink water from a plastic bottle over and over and over and over again, yes, you can mitigate the risks by refrigerating the water, by not leaving it in the sunlight, but you're still going to get BPAs. If you drink from a plastic water bottle, you can taste like something tastes a little, you have that taste to it. It just tastes like, okay, it doesn't taste like water, it tastes a little bit plasticky. Those are xenoestrogens. And those little buggers, they bind to your fat cells because they act as an estrogen in your body. And which is, by the way, a good thing. Estrogen is important for men and women, but having too much is going to increase your fat. Having too little, which could also happen because if your body is getting all these estrogens from a external source that aren't real estrogen from your body, you're going to have issues, especially with men, with erection quality, with libido. Those things are very regulated by your estrogen levels. So all of these different stressors, because that's a stressor, are the reason for this epidemic. And I wish I could give you a good answer on how to solve it. The first thing is the awareness. But man, from personal experience, you've seen it firsthand. There's certain circumstances that just make this difficult for most men to deal with. And it's a beautiful challenge. Men love challenges, right? And I think it's a beautiful thing to aspire towards. But I think you're in this place too, like me, where you're in your grind, you're in your hustle right now. And how do we balance the hustle and the grind and achieving these things we want to achieve in life while also prioritizing our health? So that's something that I think I love learning from guys like you because you're curious and you want to figure out how to better yourself in multiple different facets. Not only because you want to feel better, but because you want to perform better. And then in return, when you perform better, then you can reward yourself with these experiences that relieve stress and these options that you have now, these food options that you have access to, these location options you have access to, different things that you can actually do within your own life, and then be able to provide that to your partner, to your children, or what have you in the future. And that's the goal of a lot of, stoic and masculine men, is to be able to provide that sense of health for their whole family. So that's the main goal for me, is being able to figure out how to navigate this world and be able to produce and provide while being able to take care of myself. Because right now I'm in the hustle, man. I'm in the grind. Like I'm trying to spend my time working, spend my time sitting, learning, researching. I'm not trying to go and, I used to go to the spring. I would get this glass jug and travel 6 hours to a spring and fill up this glass jug of water. I don't have time for that now. A and B, I don't even know where the heck to go anymore. So like, that's not feasible for me. And a lot of men can't go live off grid because they need to get access to the internet so they can continue to learn and continue to produce and create. So for men who are in that space, that's the magic spot of what can we do now. And I have three feasible steps that men in that space can actually take in order to improve their health while they're still on the grind without having to spend, 2K on a water filter without having to go to um I would travel to these different natural food stores, man. I would try and do whatever I could. And I consider these three things my big three from my own experience. However, I think if I asked you what three things were you have that you would say that you would recommend as a guy who's a growing entrepreneur who's taking care of their business and taking care of their health, the three things you have would probably be different than the three things I have, which I think is awesome because it's like a menu, right? You look at the options and you pick the things that are most important to you. You have tier lists of what you focus on the most. So I would say number one for me has been finding a time every day, if not every day, every other day, to go outside. I try and do in the mornings, but I'm not perfect with it. I'm very, very rarely do I actually go outside in the mornings first thing. Find a time to go outside, find a place, find a park, find somewhere where you can take your shoes off, go barefoot, and just like stretch your body. Start. I think I already mentioned the first part is going outside barefoot and touching the earth and getting sunlight from nature, even if you're in the big city. I have a friend in LA who does this every day. He works in downtown LA as an actor. His name is JJ Michaels. And every
Just
single
cut it
day
out a
he
little
makes
bit,
an effort to get a
Jameson.
patch of grass, even if he's in like the downtown like hood, like even if he's down in like the mean streets of like of all the LA the things you see on TV, right? He'll go
Yeah,
outside and
yeah.
he'll get barefoot on the sun, barefoot in sunlight, and this is huge for me. But I try and take it to another level, and I do these movements with my hands. Right now, this is more physiotherapy than a health thing. It's like a physiotherapy health, but I'll use my hands and I'll go to points on my body. Right, for me, it's always my stomach. I'll go and I will start to navigate my belly. I'll start to poke around in my belly. Feel I'm doing it right now, but it's hard to see. I'll start to feel in my belly. I'll go in there and I'll just feel throughout my intestines. I'll feel like my liver. I'll just stimulate these organs and I'll make sure that I'm, you know, spending time doing these things. And what this does is it allows that stuff that's stuck in my intestines to get moving. And I do this outside because it just feels the most comfortable, especially on an emptier stomach. So I like to do that when I'm outside barefoot. That's my personal thing. But on top of that, I also mentioned the sexual health earlier. And for me, this has a lot to do, oddly enough, with flexibility. So I will stretch, and all I do whenever I stand up is I will do this stretch, and this comes into part two. This is number two of what I recommend, and that is guys who are sitting all day. Whenever you think of it, you don't just set a timer if you don't want to. Don't be OCD about it. Whenever you remember, just stand up, get off your chair, and I do this 3-part stretch. It takes me 20 seconds. I go and I breathe in, put my hands overhead, and then I reach back as far as I can go, stretch my upper back, and then I go back to the center. I breathe, and then I inhale, and then I go all the way down. I stretch. I do a forward hanging stretch, like you're touching your toes, except I don't touch my toes. I just put my arms together and just hang there like a baby. And I just hold it for 6 seconds. I count in my head. I count in Portuguese because I'm trying to learn. And then I go and I stand up, and this is my favorite one. I'll take my hands. This one's kind of takes some instruction, but once you get the idea of it, it makes a lot of sense. I take my hands, I put them on. This one has an added benefit that guys are going to love too. I put them on my hips. I take my palms, put it on my hip, and I'm standing right now. Like so. So when I'm doing this, I'm standing, and I'll lean forward, and I'll just push my hands push my arms so that they're straight. And what this does is it basically extends your spine, and you can feel it pulling your spine. And it's great because usually, especially guys who are working, they're sitting, their spine's compressed. Not only is that not good for your posture and how you look, which has a lot to do with attraction, not good for your energy levels, and it's not good for your sexual health. It actually has been shown to have an issue. It helps or it hurts your erection quality. So I do this because I have always been a sloucher. I always slouch over, even when I'm trying to stay straight up and consciously thinking about it. I slouch. So I do this to counteract the slouching that I do as I'm sitting. And I do this whenever I stand up. If I'm taking a break from work, I will do this stretch. And the beautiful part about it that guys are going to like is that it actually increases your height. It actually makes you feel taller. And you can
Yep.
also, I mean, you can also gain a couple of centimeters if you do it enough. Like there's actually before and after of doing the stretch, and it helps expand your spine. I don't think it's, I mean, of course it's not going to be permanent unless you consistently do it, but it helps increase that spinal length. And every guy knows that every centimeter you get counts. So like
Hey, look,
every
for
centimeter is worth it.
yeah, someone who's probably no taller than 170 centimeters, I
Yeah.
think 5'7" for us, for the
Yeah.
people listening in the UK. Yeah, for sure, man. We have to do what we can. Us short kings, we have to do what we can.
Dude, the short kings are making a comeback, bro. The short
Yeah.
kings are the ones who are crushing it. You guys got the short kings are there's a lot. I follow a lot of British guys that I really like. Two big guys that I follow. One actually has he has Crohn's disease, and he talks about it in his story. His name is his name is Vic, but he's one of the sidemen. And
Okay, yeah.
there's another guy that's more of an entrepreneur guy, Iman Gadzi. He's also another guy that's just like that
Yeah,
just
he's
has a really cool. And these guys like I love that because they're just like they're against the odds. Like I mean, Iman when his story started, he was face full of acne, looked like a child basically. Vic, same thing, wasn't taken seriously. Um, had Crohn's, so his health was always, really nerve wracking for him. And these guys went against the odds and just like they're crushing it. So those guys are huge inspirations for sure. But now to the third thing. What was your question?
no, just on that, because you're 100% right about the posture and stuff. So
Yeah.
one thing that I noticed was, having just working on my laptop, you're always like this,
A hunchback.
crouched over, and literally the best investment I made, and I'd highly recommend to anyone listening, is just a laptop stand. Laptop stand, buy yourself an external keyboard and a mouse.
Yeah,
And as
yeah, yeah,
soon as
yeah.
I did that, and it was actually looking at my screen at eye level, the
Yes.
the issue with the posture and the shoulder pain that I was experiencing just pretty much went away. It took a little bit of time, but and the other thing I did, I mean, I'm fortunate that I live in an apartment block that they have a gym, and I hang on the bar, and
Yes,
yeah,
bro, you
so
know everything. Yeah, that's
and
exactly what I would recommend. Dr.
you're right.
Farhan Kawaja loves those two things you just mentioned too. He does those two
Yeah.
things every day. He's the one who got me obsessed about raising
Sorry,
about my
cut out there,
laptop.
Jamo, a little bit.
It's all good.
Oh, yeah, I lost you. Lost you a little bit. So I was
You
just
know, good in the hood.
yeah, yeah. So that's definitely I definitely found that help. And you're right. It does, like I was hanging on the bar, and
Makes such a
before
difference.
before I couldn't touch I couldn't touch the floor, and
Mhm.
now so you do. I think maybe I grew a centimeter. Who knows?
Hey, every centimeter counts, bro. Guys
Yeah,
are
yeah,
so used to trying to yang out in the gym, right? They're going to the gym and their bodies are just no yin and yang, the two opposites. They always yang. They always want to pump. They always want to hit the weights. They always want to get the pump on. They always want to hit the big weights, hit the big numbers, hit the bench press, squats. These things are great. They're great for producing testosterone, but they're also going to compress your spine too. You got to
yeah,
counter those things, man. If you're always spinal compression, your body's going to keep the score, and the gut listens to all of that. And it's all part of how you feel, how your body's processing your daily stressors, and it all adds up. So that's why I recommend guys remember to stretch. I like to recommend exercise, but guys know this is already obvious. If guys wanted to exercise, they would make time to exercise. If it was a priority for them, they'd make time. Some guys say it's not a priority because it's too inconvenient, or some guys are in pain. Exercising is hard for them because their body needs something else, but all they are told is exercise, 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 exercise. They're like, okay, I got to do it even though it hurts. I got to do it even though it doesn't feel right. It feels uncomfortable. And they're told this because men are expected to work out, and that's like how we're supposed to be healthy. But health is all about polarity, just like a relationship. You have to have counterbalance to the whole situation. And if your body's not feeling good while you're exercising, it's a sign that you should use that time that you're supposed to be exercising doing another exercise that's balancing, instead of that's, forceful and explosive. You should be doing a lengthening, calming, grounding exercise like box breathing, like breathing in 5 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll get your body right out of fight or flight. That'll get your body into rest and digest if you just do that for a minute or two. And guys are always in fight or flight, and then they go to the gym and they wonder why their blood pressure's through the roof and they're always stressed out, because the gym is going to increase that stress. It's a stressor on your body. So you got to figure out ways to balance that stress. Just like Kegels. Guys love Kegels. They're like, "Oh, I got to do my Kegel exercise so I can last longer." And then they're always squeezing their perineum. They're squeezing their butt muscle, and they're never letting it relax when relaxation is what you really want. So I think it's funny how men are doing that, and I think a lot of women are better at relaxing, but they're also in a place where they have many other stresses to deal with as well. So it's not a fair field for them either. But when it comes to men, they love drinking. That's their relaxing method. It's just every guy that, the average guy I know, the only time they feel stress free is when they are not sober. So that's a big issue that most men are facing. So if you can nip that in the butt and you can cut that relationship with alcohol, that's a bonus tip. That's not the third tip. That's just a huge way to take a load off your shoulders physically and emotionally. You can take a weight off your shoulders from losing weight, and an emotional weight off of your shoulders. And I don't say you have to go cold turkey. I just say you should become a lightweight again. Learn how to be a lightweight. Like, if you can go out and have a shot and feel good, that's the dream. Like, just one drink and you're chilling, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about, drinking 10 beers or 10 mixed drinks, because your body is already feeling the way you want to feel. Of course, I don't drink, but I have, and I definitely wouldn't say I'm sober. I do drink if I want to. I'm not 0% alcohol, but at the same time, when I do drink, it's like, okay, I have one drink and I'm like, oh, I already feel super loose. I already feel everything I want to feel from alcohol. So, like, why would I drink more? Um, yeah, men are
Yeah,
in that day and age for sure.
yeah. There's a big.
And
I
women.
mean,
It's the men and women. I've seen it extremes on both sides.
yeah. I mean, the alcohol is a big one. Like you know, the UK is notorious for big drinking culture.
Right?
I think it's changing. The younger generations, from my understanding, aren't drinking as much. Um, but the UK, yeah, when I was, younger, in my early 20s, even mid 20s, there's a lot of social pressure,
Uh-huh, absolutely.
and I'm pretty much teetotal. I think I've gone 550 days alcohol free now, which is the longest I've probably been
Nice.
sober since the age of 16. Like that, as soon in the UK, when by the time, yeah, when you're about 16, 17, like
Mhm.
it's almost ingrained. House parties, and there's a huge expectation. But for me, I kind of nipped it in the bud because I was dealing with, autoimmune issues and health issues already. And you think, well, what's the point of putting effectively a poison into your body if your body is not performing at the level that you want it to be at? Not to say that I'll never have a drink again. Um, I'd love to be in a position where I could, but I don't think I have the same relationship to alcohol as I did when I was younger,
Good.
which was go out and drink as much as possible and,
Good.
get as drunk as
Get it out of
possible.
your
And
system.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I had many. Yeah, I
Yeah,
had probably over a
I
decade of
feel
that.
that.
So
I feel that
um,
big time
yeah,
because it's just the
I don't even.
commonality.
I yeah.
is you want to fit in, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You want to fit in, and that's where the emotional stress comes in. That's why I practice that grounding, that mindfulness. That's very overlooked. Some I wouldn't recommend meditating because it's not for everyone, but I would recommend finding a place where you could have zen in your life, whether it be through a sport like archery or something. Like who knows? But for me, a lot of things I do is I like to go for walks. That's super zen. Girls do it. They call it hot girl walks. Why can't we have hot guy walks? And it's one of those situations where we just need to find a moment where we can like be happy, like feel good in our gut. One of my favorite things to do is just sit in the Uber and just listen to music and just look at the view. Like even though if there's traffic or whatever, I'm just so happy. I'm just chilling. I'm just like smiling. I'm just like, this is great. And yeah, that's why I go to the park, man. I go to the park to just be able to breathe. And for me it's also a practice to get uncomfortable because I'm the only guy there who not only is, you know, not Brazilian, but also I'm doing these weird things, bro. I'm twisting my body and I'm doing all the fascial maneuvers I was telling you about. I do those consistently. And whenever I do those things, I'm just like, man, I feel so good right now. Like I feel good. I look good. Like I start thinking good things about myself instead of being like, oh man, everyone's going to look at me and think I'm weird. And instead of having that mindset, I, um, I just feel good. I radiate that feeling of like, I just feel great right now. And I try and, make that my reality in how I'm feeling. Even if I'm not feeling good that day, even if I'm feeling stressed out, thinking about some like something I said or the something I didn't do for work or something I did do for work, something I need to do for work. Like those thoughts always come up and they're always in there just like, hey, remember me? I got you still got this to do and you still got this going on. And I'm just like, yeah, I know. That's cool. But like right now I'm just taking care of myself. And that's another thing that guys need to tell themselves more. So that was the second thing that I like to add into my life. But when it comes to food, the third thing that I do, and this has just become a new habit that I started last year, but for my gut, I feel way better when I peel my vegetables. And I try to avoid vegetables with a lot of seeds in it because my gut doesn't like that. Makes a lot of gas, just makes myself really uncomfortable. So if I focus on the foods that my body actually likes, I peel them, I feel great. I don't have issues. I don't have to run to the bathroom. Um, and they taste better to me too. So I'll take with food. Of course, there's the option to go buy organic and all these different things. You can wash your food with some fancy, you know, washes that get all the pesticides off. You have like super high pH water, it gets all your pesticides off, but that's not accessible. I can't do that right now. All I can do is peel my vegetables and wash them in regular tap water. And you can also rinse your vegetables in vinegar and baking soda if you really want to get them cleaned. But I don't do that right now because it just sometimes is too much work to be honest. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
lazy too, man. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to do as easy as possible. So now for me it's just okay, I peel my vegetables, I cook them. I cook them thoroughly because if I have uncooked food then that's going to be a problem. And when it comes to eating out, which I do from time to time, I have one place. I have one place that I trust. It's organic. It's affordable and that's my go-to. If I'm hungry and I'm like, I'm not gonna eat. I'm too lazy to eat right now. I don't have enough food to eat right now because my thing is I'm trying to gain weight. So if I have this issue where I'm just like, I don't want to eat right now, I'll just go to my go-to spot and I'll eat the same food. And for me, I don't get bored. Some guys might not like this because they like variety, but when it comes to eating food, it's so easy for me to just eat the same food over and over again. If it works and I feel good eating it and I trust it, then I'm like, I'm set, I'm sorted because I can buy the food. I have it all in my fridge and my freezer. And then I just know that I'll have food whenever I'm hungry and I can cook it. So having like that one meal that you can go to and then you're like, I can cook this meal and I can like enjoy it. And I have about 3 or 4 meals that I'll go to. Scrambled eggs, steak with potatoes and rice, and um, I'll have things like salmon, and the other one that I usually make is more of a fresh greens kind of dish. I'm feeling a little bit more greensy, but for the most part, I just find something that works, make the most of it, make sure it has enough carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, make sure the ingredients are good, and then that's it, man. That's like I don't get too fancy. And then when I go out, so now that I've been going out more to restaurants, I eat and I'm not stressed about it. I'll eat something and I know that I can eat this because I'm not eating like fried foods because those will throw me out of whack for sure. But I'm eating things where I'm like, I don't know if it's organic. I don't know if it's, the quality that I'm looking for. I don't know if it's grass fed meat, but I still eat it because I don't want to be ostracized. I don't want to be stressed out about it. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna eat this. And it's not a toxic relationship with food where I'm like, I have to eat this. I just know that 90% of the time I'm eating good food that works well with me so that my gut is healed enough so that when that 10% comes and I eat food that isn't ideal, my body is gonna be able to take it and it's my body can be prepared for it and knows how to handle it. My gut's not gonna be leaky. I'm gonna have the um, amino acids I need. I'm gonna have the L-glutamine levels that I need so my body can heal my gut, and when I eat these foods, my body can process it, my liver can process it, and I'm not going to have to worry about it. I'm not going to have to run to the bathroom after. I'm not going to have a stomach ache. I'm not going to have a headache. As long as I don't eat anything too crazy, like if I start, I'm not eating like, packaged processed. I'm not eating like, burritos you heat up in the microwave. I'm not eating candy bars because I think that would throw me over the edge. But I'm eating food out at restaurants that I don't know what oils they cooked it in. I don't know where the quality comes from. I don't think it's organic. I doubt it's organic. I don't know what they put in these sauces. They could put stuff that I don't like. They could put gluten in this. I don't know if it has gluten in it or not. I don't know if it has milk in it or not. Maybe it has dairy, maybe it doesn't. And I just figure it out. And if I'm on a date where I'm really like nervous about eating the wrong thing, then I'll just say something at the restaurant. Like, can I get this gluten free, dairy free, whatever? I'll make it easy for them. I'm not gonna, be demanding like, oh, I need this and this and this, and I can't eat this and I can't eat that. I'll just ask for those things because I don't want to have a trigger where I can get inflamed and have a flare up where I'm just like, oh, see you later. I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go. I have a phone call for 10 minutes. You don't want to tell a first date you have to go to the bathroom or a second date or a third date, let alone as a guy. Could you imagine being a girl and having to say like, oh, you know what? I love this conversation we're having, but I gotta go take the meanest shit. Like how I feel so bad for girls, man. They at least as a guy, it's like, okay, like we're guys, so it's like it's embarrassing, but like, yeah, we go to the bathroom, like it's a thing, right? Girls are under the stigma that like girls don't poop. So like if they even make like they go to the bathroom for more than 5 minutes, it's like, what is she doing in there? Did she fall in? And God forbid that you're over someone's house or you're not in like a restaurant or you're in a public place where you don't know where the bathroom is. Like those kind of things would always stress me out, man. And I was like, I don't want to be stressed out about this anymore. I want to just feel healthy. I want to feel good. And yeah, that's where I'm at now is like I can just feel good. And if things arise, they arise, but I know how to handle them when they do arise. And I'm usually pretty good at preparing myself for not having to run into those issues. But they still come up. It's not perfect. But yeah, man, what are your three things that you would say that you're doing in order to really improve that health balance with your busy lifestyle?
I think it's funny. We talked about, you talked about uh, not always being perfect with your food. Like
Hmm.
we kind of know that we want to be eating good quality, ideally organic produce. But I think sometimes you can kind of stress out too much and that causes more issues. I remember when I was eating uh, very good, clean food, but I was always worrying if I did go out for a dinner, oh, what are they, like you said, what are they cooking in? And that actually makes things worse because the stress on your body is, you could have the perfect diet, but if you're dealing with a lot of stress, then it doesn't matter. Your body will still be off
Hmm.
whack. So I would say number one for me, I've realized is try to get a handle on the stress. Um, Now, I don't know your opinion, but the the argument is that your gut can cause a lot of these kind of anxiety and uh, so they are very closely linked. But I think there's obviously things you can do, as you've mentioned, with things like the breathing exercises and just the way that you um, compartmentalize your thoughts. You know, I think there's things you can do to kind of control that stress and manage your, before I would, when I first started out running my business, I'd be like working, every hour, and I just don't do that now. I think, I can get more done in, 4 hours than I could get done in 12 hours because I'm do I'm just focused on the work, and then I prioritize my health a lot more than I did before. So I guess, yeah, one, stress is a bit. It's talked about a lot, but it is a big one. Um, Two is, I think, it is actually prioritizing your health over your wealth, the business. Because if you get your health right, then you're able to operate at a higher level and be more productive anyway. And I think for too long I would be focused on I just gotta work, and I could worry about this health situation later. Or I'd mask it with, you know, painkillers and drinking copious amounts of coffee and
Hmm.
just to get some energy without realizing there's something going. Why have I got low energy, and why have I got brain fog and fatigue and
Hmm.
like sometimes you have to take a step back and realize that your health is, you've only got one body and one mind, and you need to look after it. And if that isn't running correctly, then you're never going to be able to operate at the level that you want. So, number two, yeah, uh, prioritizing your health. Number three, I think it's just sometimes it's about like what can you cut out versus what can you put in. We're very
Hmm.
focused on like, oh, we need this supplement, this and that. Well,
Yep.
cutting out things that are going to cause issues. Like for me, it was I quit. I cut out alcohol because if I'm not well, why am I putting effectively something into my body that really, okay, I get 2-3 hours of fun, which is great. We're drinking with the lads or whatever. But equally, then I'm going to have days of being unproductive, hungover. It's going to cause issues with my gut. And the other one, unfortunately for me, which I've had to cut out, which I love, is coffee, which for
Hmm.
some people is great, is really
Hmm.
productive. But there's a kind of, if you're dealing with gut
Yep.
issues,
Gut
as we know,
issues, other issues, it
yeah,
causes
yeah,
depends on the person, but for me it was heart issues. It would like make my heart feel real, like just heart
an-
pain. I was like, what
anxiety
the
is a big
heck
one.
is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cutting out things versus sometimes adding things in. Like, there's a lot of different stuff. I think myself, like you, I try as best as I can to eat good quality organic food, but I've not got to kind of anal about it. Like sometimes I can't. They haven't got it available here in Malaysia.
Hmm.
Um, uh, so yeah, you have to do what you can do. Um, but yeah, those would probably be my top three. Um,
Good. Good ones. Really good ones, man. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree.
but yeah,
Um,
I mean, I guess let's say that someone's listening in and they feel like they've maybe got some gut health issues. They're dealing with various different symptoms, whether it's physical like skin issues, whether it's you know really strong anxiety, uh, depression, any other kind of autoimmune issues. Where would you start? Where would you advise people start in terms of like,
mm,
should they be going and hiring a coach and doing some tests? Should they try and fix the diet first and get some fundamental things in place? What would you what are
mm,
some kind of key
man.
foundational
Yeah.
starting points?
Where to
Say,
start?
yeah, and
Where to
maybe
start?
basing it on someone that maybe eats okay, but
Hmm.
still, is not perfect. It's not
Right.
like,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Right.
they're not come from this world of
Yeah.
going down the holistic route.
Right. Where would I start? Well, I would take a moment to tell them that like it's okay. And you're not alone in this. They have to realize that this is um, difficult, but it is something that they can fix and improve. And just having that sense of acceptance is definitely a helpful thing. And then when it comes to action steps, I would start now in the ideal world. What I would do is I would go and see a natural path and run tests. And by tests, I don't mean like endoscopy. I don't mean those intrusive tests. I mean things like a stool test, things like a SIBO test, things like a blood test. I would look for my inflammation levels. I would look at my mineral levels, my magnesium, my vitamin D levels. I would check the basics. Of course, blood tests are the easiest ones to get. Check your mineral levels, check your zinc, check your vitamin A, retinol, things like that play a large role in gut health. Most people are fine, but it's great if you can find something that's off so that you can work towards that and you know what to fix instead of just throwing a bunch of supplements at it, hoping something will help. Find out what you're deficient in or what you have too much of, and then go from there. And then that's what I would do if I really had it. If I could start over again now, I would see a naturopath and do it through hopefully insurance and be able to take those tests and improve my gut health like that. But if I didn't have that outlet, what I would do is I would start before I even got into my diet and starting a new diet or trying this new diet craze. I would start by taking out foods that caused a big issue. And this is how I would do it. I would do a fast. I would just cut out foods for 24 hours. And usually when you have a gut issue and you fast, it causes gut discomfort. Not just hunger. Your gut feels pain, which is interesting because you haven't eaten anything, but your gut's in pain, but you're so used to feeding and feeding and feeding it, it never has time to heal itself. So I would actually, unless you are really skinny and you have to, and your body isn't retaining weight, um, I would fast. But there are circumstances like right now, I don't want to fast because I am in a position where my body does not have the capacity to fast like I would like it to. So I would not recommend fasting for everyone, but just putting that out there. It's a specified situation. But if you're a little bit overweight, then definitely, I would definitely recommend a fast for sure. That would help figure out a couple of different things. But the big one is you can start slowly incorporating food back. So first thing I would incorporate back is fruit. I would start eating different fruits. Um, in the first hour of breaking my fast, I would start eating, um, you know, a banana or something that's like low glycemic, like blueberries, raspberries. I would start with that, and then I would add in a broth. I would add in a bone broth or chicken broth, and I would consume that as well. And that usually helps clean out the system. And on top of that, I would add in lemon water with salt. I would make sure I get my minerals in. I would do that during my fast as well. I'd be drinking lemon water with salt, and I wouldn't cap it at 24 hours. I would say if you want to keep going, you can keep going to 48 hours. But this was a big part of my journey was just fasting. And I got a little bit overzealous with it. I did too much fasting, up to 7 days fasting of just like for no reason really, just because I wanted to see how far I could go and because I was saving money. So it was like, oh, this is fun. But it was definitely not ideal at a certain point. I think over time, I did not need to fast. I should have fasted less, especially with my weight. I should have learned to eat more calories and get more healthy calories in and do fasting as a short term thing to heal my gut. And then while I'm fasting, I should have taken more sodium chloride, potassium, um, and this thing called snake juice, which is basically just, salt and potassium salt. Um, it helps basically clear out your system. It helps clean out. You can just make it at home. You can get ingredients at any convenience store or supermarket. But I'm just speaking from personal experience here. I would have taken that, so I could have, because before I would just drink water without any minerals, so my body wouldn't have any minerals in it. So it was hard to go to the bathroom, and I wouldn't really use the bathroom during my fast, and that was frustrating because then I wasn't able to process things out. So I would take things that would help stimulate that. I would be drinking magnesium before bed, magnesium calm, magnesium chloride would help go to the bathroom. I would drink that. Doesn't taste great, but I would just put the powder in water and just chug it back unflavored. And then I would consistently consume more of those things during my fast so that I could go to the bathroom more and I can help clear these things out. But if I were to start again, what I really want to do is I really want to focus on the physical aspect. I'd want to do the things I was telling you about, the fascial maneuvers. I'd want to spend time moving my body in different ways, not exercising, not hitting the gym crazy, stretching, hanging off the bar, and doing the maneuvers that I started doing. I would get into my gut health. I would start feeling around in the gut. I would start learning these different pressure points on the body, and I would just do it on my own. And I would do that. I would just do that from YouTube. I would just learn from YouTube. I just look up fascial maneuvers on YouTube, learn some of the basics, and I would go do those. If it was inside, if that'd be great. If I could do them outside in the sunlight, that'd be great. If I could do them outside barefoot in the sunlight, that'd be even better. But I would just do them in any way they come. And it wouldn't matter if it was 1 minute or 10 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour. I would just put in the effort to do it every single day and create that habit. And that was something that I totally overlooked when I first started, was the physical aspect of my gut health. Yes, I wish I cut out, the bad products, the bad foods first, processed foods, the packaged foods. But before even, I would say, as far as before even like trying to obsess over going organic, I would first prioritize eating real food. So I would get rid of the processed foods, eat real food. But the next step after eating real food was eating real organic food. I would, if I was just eating real food, that would be great with the physical aspect, because the organic food, that's a big change. But the physical aspect is free. All you need is
Mm.
just learn it and do it. It doesn't change your routine much. You don't have to go to a different grocery store. You don't have to start cooking different food. You just change your routine when it comes to a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, and add in this free new skill set that you're learning. And I would just make that a habit. And I would just do that on a consistent basis. That's another thing that I would focus on. But there's so many rabbit holes you can get fallen into, and I've gone through many of them. I would just be like, okay, these are all options, but I don't want to. I mean, I'm a mental masturbator. I love learning about every possible option. And while I'm learning about them, guess what? I'm doing none of them because I'm just excited to learn about them, and I don't actually apply them into my own life. So instead of being all excited of knowing all these different yogas and kriyas and kundalini and like all these different body things I can do, and then all these different diets I can try and different fasting regimens I can try, I'm just like, you know what? What can I actually stick with? What can I actually do now that I don't, that I can just do normally in my life and stick with it? So that's where I really was like, I should have popped myself in the head earlier for that and been like, bro, you can just do one thing and just like enjoy it and get good at it and see what happens. Because I was all excited about reading all these books about like, oh, this is bad for you. Oh, this is bad for you. I can't do this. I can't eat this. I'm going to change this diet. No, I want to do this diet. And I was just wishy-washy, wishy-washy. And it wasn't until I actually achieved consistency that I actually was able to make a change in my health.
Mm. Yeah, it is challenging because there is I
There's so
saw
much.
it's and you go on to yeah, YouTube, TikTok, whatever social media platform you want to uh look at, and you know you've got carnivore diet's the best, and no vegan diet, and paleo, and whatever, keto, and it's it's so confusing, and you know I've always realized you've got to be quite careful as well, because the reality is the people that are advocates of these different diets, or the well-known people in the industry for that particular diet, they may believe fully in that, and they may have been able to help a lot of people, but equally they are running a business behind that. Like they are there.
You got to
There's a
be
reason
aware
that
of
they
that.
have to prescribe to
Definitely got
that
to bring
narrative,
awareness to the business
um,
aspect of it.
because yeah, and look, there's nothing wrong with that if you believe in that. It's just sometimes I don't think it's completely black and white, um, and I think there is some nuance to what would work for one person versus another person.
Hmm.
Um,
That's the
you
biggest
know,
thing. It's
yeah,
your own schematics, right? Everyone has their own process that works for them. And that's why the testing is so fun. That's why I recommend, if you can, go get the stool testing, the SIBO testing, the blood testing, because that's the best way to figure out what your best situation is. I try not to recommend a elimination diet because it's so much work and it's hard. I've done it once and I'm just like, this is miserable. Like I just don't like having to slowly add different foods and like journaling what things work. But some people are that desperate. They just need to do something. So elimination diet is like basic, a simple thing that people can do. But at the same time, I I didn't get a lot out of it because I already know what I do well with and I know what I don't do well with. And then I try not to follow dogmas with diets when it becomes too dogmatic. I'm like, all right, I'm out. Like I'm not going to be the guy who only eats this or only eats that. Like I want options. I want to have the stress free characteristics. I want to be feeling good and know that yes, I have stress for things, but also my body is protected from it and I can navigate that stress and I have tools that help me process that stress in healthy ways.
yeah, no, absolutely agree. I think, yeah, it, I think when you're really strict on a diet, unless you have to be, I don't think it's the right route.
Right. Yeah.
Certainly
Some people
long
have
term.
to. I mean, that's just
Yeah,
sometimes that's the way it is for autoimmune situations. People have to go full carnivore. No shade against those people. That's just what they found works for them. But when you're on your own journey, you kind of have to figure out what works best for you. Just because it worked for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. But you may as well try it. May as well give it a go and see what the best option is. But don't be too hard on yourself with it. If it doesn't stick, it's not working, then you can always change and try something else.
yeah, no,
But there are
think
some basics there, like being outdoors, being in a place where you can reduce stress, and learning how to navigate that stress. Don't feel like you have to run away from society. Just learn that there are tools that help. You can be a meditator. You can be a paddle player. You could be actually, that might actually increase stress depending on how you play. But you could do things that decrease stress and you could be playing music, which for me increases stress, but for some people it totally relaxes them. You could do things like the breathing, the box breathing that I do. Yoga nidras are great, where you just listen to a yoga nidra audio on YouTube. Those are super fun. That's what I like to do because it's super calming. Like I just feel this tingling throughout my whole body, and it's super nice. And I'll have thoughts of work. I'll have thoughts of things I said that I shouldn't have said, but at the same time, like I don't attach myself to them. I just let them float by like clouds. And I'm like, oh, that's a fun thought, and that's my tool. Those are my tools. Having that toolbox is so important. When you're out in public and something happens, if you get into a stressful situation, you got to have that toolbox. Sometimes I just call my grandma. That's part of my tools because I'm just like, grandma. It's just whenever I talk to my grandma, everything else disappears. You know,
yeah,
it's just
yeah,
nice to have those things. So that situation for me is having that toolkit. Once you figure out what your toolkit is, you can start approaching life, and when things arise, you have a toolkit to fix the problem.
yeah. No, it's great stuff. It's great stuff. Um, Look, I could sit here and talk to you for hours,
Yeah,
Jamo,
man.
about this stuff. It's like,
I can't wait till we can have this conversation in person, man.
yeah, yeah, for sure. We'll have to meet up. Yeah, I'm sure we'll meet somewhere in the world. I thought I'd end on a just a quick fire round.
Oh, cool. I
Just a
like
few
this.
questions.
Heck yeah.
Oh, he's still there? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. My things, yeah.
Just sorry. Yeah, just cut off a little bit. So yeah, I thought we end with a bit of a quick fire round. Favorite place in the world?
Hawaii.
Interesting. Okay, never been to Hawaii. What's what made you choose Hawaii? Because you've been to a lot of places.
It's just isolated, man. It's just
Yeah,
it's a place where I can just feel like I can totally detach from the rest of the world. And the food that's growing there is amazing. The volcanic soil is super mineral rich. I would be the big island of Hawaii, to be more specific. The beach is incredible. There's just so much calm, so much nature. Um, and yeah, that's a beautiful thing for me. I just love the. It just feels like you're in the middle of nature, but you're on an island with people that I personally love. I have some really close friends there that I have a lot of love for, and that makes it even better because being around good people is what I love doing. So there's certain reasons why I'm not in Hawaii right now, but those reasons are, you know, not reasons why I love them are because of things that are, intangible.
yeah, interesting. I think
Yeah.
all I know about Hawaii, I used to watch a program. I think it was uh, Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Talk the bounty
do,
hunter.
do you know that? Do you know
I
that
know
show?
very well.
Yeah. I don't know why it was aired in the UK, but I used to watch episode after episode on that.
Oh man, that's funny.
So,
You were
that's all I
watching
know.
Dog the Bounty Hunter. I was watching Top Gear. We were like
Uh,
switching our.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
watching UK. You were watching US.
Yeah,
Funny.
very random. That's all I know about Hawaii. Is he used to just gallivant round there and catch fugitives.
Yeah, there are a lot of them over there.
Yeah,
Good place to run away.
yeah. Well, if you're gonna run away, you might as well run away to paradise.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um, favorite form of exercise?
Swimming. I love swimming because you're in the
Okay.
water. I'm swimming and I'm in the water. It's
Yeah.
just you're in the swimming in the ocean. I don't like swimming in the pool. No, I
Yeah.
can't. I do not like swimming in pools. I cannot stand the chlorine. But if I'm out in the ocean swimming, I something so free about it. I get a great pump, but my body doesn't feel like I'm compressing it. It feels like I'm um using it natural. Naturally moving my body. It's very instinctual and it's just beautiful. I love swimming. It's just so fun to go underwater, to dive. Um, yeah, I would say swimming over diving because diving kind of can get a little painful sometimes when you're like trying to dive and you got the big fins on and your calves cramp up and you're like, my calf. That's not very harmonious. It's beautiful, but it's not harmonious with health. So I would say swimming because you're in the magnesium salt. You're in nature's magnesium bath. That's like the most, yeah, that's just so good for your body. You're getting the negative ions, you're grounding, and it's always fun. You get to, especially swimming to a destination. If you can swim somewhere like to an island or something, that's just so cool because you're like, it's like productivity plus exercise plus nature. That combination of things is my favorite. Either that or barefoot hiking. Just hiking barefoot in the dirt is another really fun exercise.
Nice. I like it. Um, this is a random one, and I'll say this
Good.
to you because I'm very jealous of how incredible your hair is. Your best tip to stop or slow down hair loss?
Oh man. Well, for hair, I mean, a lot of it has to do with epigenetics, but there's also there's a lot of cool herbs that you can use to put in your hair. My favorite is rosemary oil. I love rosemary oil. I love red light on the hair, red light dome. Um, yeah, I love ant powder. Anything that's good in zinc, ant powder is a big one. Hushu Wu helps with hair color, darkening the hair, and oysters, things like that. Oyster caps. I like eating oysters because I'm from New England, so there's a lot of oyster eating there. But yeah, with hair quality, it's my favorite is just having no hair or no hair, just having a woman you love rubbing your scalp, just getting hair follicle stimulation. That's like that's my favorite. That's like the best thing. You get the blood flow to the hair. It doesn't matter which one you have because some guys are just it has a lot to do with your um, DHT level, not quite your level, your DHT receptors. So where you have DHT receptors in your body, and that's
Mhm.
a beautiful thing because sometimes it have more receptors. Some guys have thicker beards, some guys have thicker hair, some guys have hair on their chest, some guys don't have hair on their chest. And what I do as well is I roll. I do a dermal roller. So I like to dermal roll my face, which just helps heal the pores. I do it with my beard because sometimes I have patches in my beard. So I'll dermal roll the patchy areas just to get more hair growth and stimulation in that area and rejuvenate the skin. But yeah, the red light's always fun. I just love doing things that make me that just feel good, especially when it comes to hair. Just having like a scalp massage or anything like that. But at the end of the day, when it comes to having hair, it's just like finding a look that you're confident with and sticking with it. I mean, Doc Farhan, he shaves his whole body now. He used to be a big, hairy, burly Pakistani dude, and Dr. Farhan Khawaja, and now he shaves his whole body. And he does it like it's like his meditation. He like sits down for an hour, shaves his head, shaves his face, shaves his body, shaves his chest, shaves his back, or has his wife shaves his back. But it's just like a meditation for him, and he loves it. And the dude has a great head of hair. Dude has a big, big, full beard, like the beard that grows up into the cheeks, but
Yeah.
he decides to shave it all because he feels the most confident that way. And yeah, that's a fun question. But rosemary oil, I like rosemary oil if we're talking about like the thing that people do now, or clove oil. Yeah, diluting it, putting it in my hair masks, um, egg yolks. Like I like trying crazy stuff. I like to put a whole bunch of different mineral rich stuff, vitamin A rich stuff, choline rich stuff in my hair. Like I'll just play with it. I'll just have fun with it. Put it in my head, let it sit in my hair, and yeah, I just play with it, man. It's just fun. But what I do now is one of my favorite things that I need to get back onto because I can't do it here because the showers are different. It's just a shower filter. Shower filter feels so good on my skin. Having like itchy hair, itchy skin, dandruff, that totally goes away when I have a shower filter. And it's crazy. It's like night and day. So that's when I feel the best, man, is when I don't feel itchy. If my head is like itchy, I'm like, okay, something's up here. My head's dry, my scalp's dry. Um, Something's wrong. So I just whatever it takes to make my scalp happy and moisturized, that's what works best for me.
Good advice. Good advice. Um, Best gut healing food.
The best gut healing food. I'll give you two options. The first one is the bone broth. You know I love bone broth. Grass-fed beef bone broth. Not actual like um there's a difference between stock and broth. Stock isn't what I'm talking about, like the bone broth from the bones.
Yeah.
But if I had to go with something that was vegan, um bone broth, obviously that one's, bones. But if I were to go something that wasn't animal based, I would go with honey. Honey has a lot of propolis in it, has a lot of really good minerals in it. And of course, that one's not actually 100% vegan, but I think there's some really cool benefits for that. And if I were to consume honey, I would also consume something like because it's a good sugar, right? And you need probiotics and sugars, healthy sugars. So I would go with a fermented vegetable. I would go with a sauerkraut or a kimchi. Kimchi is my personal favorite because of the taste, but it makes my breath stink. And sauerkraut, I don't like the taste as much, but if I have a good sauerkraut, I can be really happy with that. So having that for being able to heal the gut microbiome, I would say with the honey and the sauerkraut, and then the bone broth heals the actual gut lining itself. So it's like a 1-2 punch. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, some good stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't stomach kimchi for some reason. I eat sauerkraut more, and I do
Simchis
add in
quite the astringent taste to it.
yeah. But yeah, getting the raw honey. I guess that you would recommend something like that, a raw kind of
raw honey.
unprocessed honey. Yeah,
Raw processed honey. I would eat it with some. I put it on like a yogurt, probiotic, and I usually just eat it raw. I just try to take a spoon, but
yeah, I'm the same. I'm the same. Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's like my sweet tooth. Yeah. That's my favorite
Nice.
if I need it, especially if I'm doing a lot of antibiotics. If I'm doing anything, especially when I was younger, when I was taking all those antibiotics, my gut, I needed to not inoculate my gut. I was consuming fermented veggies, fermented dairy, just to re-inoculate my gut microbiome naturally. Try to get it as natural as possible too. The more natural your sauerkraut is, the like refrigerated sauerkraut, no vinegar, just straight up raw sauerkraut, water, Celtic sea salt. All you need are those 3 ingredients, and you got yourself a great fermented veg. And that's going to give you a ton of microbiome benefits that you're not going to be able to get from a probiotic supplement. I mean, you might get the strains, but your body's not going to be able to digest them like they would if it was from a probiotic. So, yeah, that was a big one. Love probiotics.
I'm something that I'm trying to incorporate right now. I've got my kefir in the fridge and my sauerkraut, and trying to improve that gut.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's a constant endeavor.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Well, Jameson, pleasure talking.
Thanks, Charles. Great talking with you as well, man. Always good to see your face.
Yeah, I hope the audience got plenty of value there, because I sure did. Where can people find you if they want to kind of connect with you? And are you on any of the socials?
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to.
They want to connect with me.
Let people know where they can find you.
Can talk with me and talk about health stuff. The best way to connect with me for health is on the Afro-D Academy. I'm a coach at Afro-D, men's health company. And the Afro-D Academy is a Facebook group. We have about 11,000 members now. And on there, you can post questions. You can tag me in the questions. And you can also post questions in the group, the Facebook group. So that is another great option. There's chats. We have a chat there that you can post in as well. Tag me in it. Jameson Luskay on Facebook, and tag me in chats, join the group, and just say that you met me here or saw me here or whatever you want, and then we'll invite you to the group. We'll accept you into the group. And for free of charge, just come on in and we accept you as one of our own and ask any questions you like there. I'm sure a lot of other guys have the same question. So that's the best place I would say to ask. And then there's also the Afro-D YouTube channel for the videos on there. You can find the videos that I've done. If there's any videos that are similar, you can comment and I'll respond to the comments on the video as well.
Nice. Good stuff. Yeah, well, go check him out, guys. Cool. Well, that obviously wraps up another episode on the Charles Travers Show.
Charles Travers Show, baby.
Yeah. So please like and subscribe. I need some more subscribers. We're now not only just on YouTube, but we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Let's go.
Not quite Joe Rogan yet, but we have to start somewhere.
Every time I think of Joe Rogan, I just think the Chappelle Show when he's like, I don't think you know about me, Joe Rogan, but I smoke rocks, when he was doing the Fear Factor skit. So anyways, bro, I'm gonna do that right now. Actually, I'm gonna go on Spotify and follow and make sure I connect on all the different social platforms as well. So appreciate you, brother. For sure.
Good stuff. All
right.
Sir. Sounds good.